Chelsea striker Diego Costa has been spotted meeting super agent Jorge Mendes and a group of businessmen at Knightsbridge restaurant, as rumours persist of a potential summer move to China. There's no smoke without fire, and there's been plenty of smoke around this story. It just has refused to go away over the past year and a half. Since he got to Chelsea, apparently he's been looking to leave, according to the papers. And it's another one of those, either come out and say you want to stay and that you're happy where you are, or leave. I think personally I think he's in the best place he could be. He's the number one striker for the number one team in the biggest league in world football. Doesn't get much better than that. But why is there this smoke? Why is he angling for a move? I don't quite get it. I think he should stay. I think it's pretty clear that he should stay. He's not going to get any better than that, because despite all the rumours, there's been none around him moving to a Bayern Munich or a Real Madrid or a Barcelona. So I don't think it's going to get much better than Chelsea. So why would you want to leave? Barcelona have held talks over a deal to sign PSG midfielder and rumoured Chelsea target Marco Verratti. Verratti's clearly going to be one of the next big stars, at least in the midfield in world football. So I think he will move eventually. I think he's destined for bigger things than the French league. I don't exactly know where that's going to be, although it's the kind of deal you would see Juventus snap up pretty quickly, I believe. Not that they've been rumoured around him at all. I'd love to see him in England. I think he'd do well at Barcelona, as this rumour says, or at Real Madrid, or at any of the big teams around world football. I just personally think it sounds like one of those deals that you hear Juventus just kind of snap up, and then it's done early in the transfer window. Cesc Fabregas has emerged as a target for AC Milan, with the Italian giant set to give everything to sign the 29-year-old Chelsea midfielder. He's not playing as often as he should do at Chelsea. His style doesn't suit the Chelsea style right now. So I think a move to another club is very real and on the cards. Personally, the same as when he signed for Chelsea a couple of years ago, I think Arsenal should jump in. I think he's clearly still got love for that club. And he would do a great job for them. They need a replacement for Santi Cazorla, who's getting on a bit right now. Why not make it Cesc Fabregas? He's one of the true world-class players I think they could actually sign right now. Chelsea are confident that Eden Hazard will stay at Stamford Bridge this summer, following rumours that Real Madrid could make a world record bid for the Belgian midfielder. I think once again we're going to see the world record transfer fee be broken this summer. Quite who for, I don't know. Whether it's going to be Mbappe, Hazard, Neymar, Verratti maybe even. I think the world transfer record is going to be broken. Who by, I don't know. Who for, I don't know. Is Hazard going to leave Chelsea? It's another one of those weird ones where Chelsea are doing really well at the moment, and yet their big stars, there seems to be a lot of rumours around them leaving the club, which is kind of a bit baffling, really. We've never quite seen a big team in England be taken apart this hard since Arsenal were. If all the rumours are true, that is. Which, again, I'm not sure they are. West Ham have warned Chelsea target Michail Antonio he is going nowhere and offering double the winger's wages to stay with the East London club. That's an interesting negotiating strategy. You're going nowhere, but we're going to pay you double to do it. Surely you either tell him he's going nowhere and keep his wages the same, or you offer him double the wages to try and entice him to stay. Offering double the wages says that there's a deal on the cards anyway, so those two statements don't really fit together. Former Arsenal midfielder Robert Pires says the Gunners will sign Monaco's highly rated 18-year-old striker Kylian Mbappe. I think at this point he's worth too much. I think really at this point, if you've got Mbappe who could fetch, if the rumours are true, in excess of 80 to 85 million pounds, and then you've got Lacazette who's been sitting at around 40 million to 50 million for the past couple of years, which one are you going to pick? Lacazette's more tried and tested at this point. Dejan Lovren's new £100,000 a week deal at Liverpool makes him the 5th highest paid defender in the Premier League, behind David Luiz, Nicolas Otamendi, Vincent Kompany, both John Terry and John Terry. Okay. Don't quite understand what you want me to do with that piece of information. Is he the 5th best defender in the league? No, I think that probably goes. But then again, I think the best defenders in the league right now are probably Tottenham's, and there aren't a Tottenham name on that list because of their wage structure at the Spurs. Atletico Madrid are determined to ensure Liverpool-linked defender Theo Hernandez, who is currently on loan at Alaves, does not join their city rivals Real Madrid. If it's a choice between the demon and the devil in selling to Liverpool or Real Madrid, if they'll do anything to stop him going to their city rivals, Liverpool could be the ones to cash in. Either way, it will be in excess of £20 million, the fee. I've heard the release clause fee is around 24, 25 million. Which, if he turns into as good a defender as his promise shows, he could do, it'll be good money to spend. Liverpool striker Daniel Sturridge is a potential target for West Ham. I think he'd do well at several other clubs. He's not being played at Liverpool, which is a little bit baffling. If he can stay fit, I think there's a whole host of mid-table clubs that would be very happy to take him. Personally, there were rumours last summer that he wanted to move to Arsenal and Arsenal would put a bid in. I don't see why that wouldn't be a good move either. Arsenal need a top-rate striker, and again, if they can keep him fit, he'll do the job for them, he'll do the business, and it means Alexis Sanchez can play out on the left wing, where he's more comfortable once again. Arsene Wenger has revealed that Arsenal scouted Dele Alli many times prior to his move from MK Dons to North London rivals Tottenham. It's an interesting theory that I've seen that around Arsene Wenger more recently, is that saying that when he first took over at Arsenal, he would trust his gut a lot more with transfers. If he saw a player he thought would fit in with the club, with the philosophy, with the dynamic at Arsenal, he would just go and sign the player. Whereas now he much prefers to send scouts and to get extensive reports back about these players, so he's not trusting his own opinions and abilities as much. And whether that's just because the structure at Arsenal has changed while he's been there, so that he's not the only defining factor in transfers now, or whether he has lost confidence in his own ability to scout players, I think it shows that he's not the man he used to be, and that the club's not the same as it used to be, at the very least. In regards to them scouting Dele Alli, I'm sure they're scouting every top young player in world football right now, and I'm sure every big club is scouting every top young player in world football right now. That's just the way it is nowadays. It's so accessible to get clips and videos of young players to try and form your own opinions of them. Manchester United have made Atletico Madrid's Antoine Griezmann and Everton's Romelu Lukaku their 2 top striker targets this summer. That could have been a mouthful to say. They need new strikers. They need new strikers. If Wayne Rooney and Ibrahimovic both leave, they'll need new strikers, 2 new strikers. Those 2 are very good names and very big names. Lukaku, it's definitely a step up for him. If United get into the Champions League, which it looks like they will, that's what he's looking for. And again, no smoke without fire around Griezmann. These rumours have been persisting for the best part of the year now. Goalkeeper David De Gea is heading closer to the Manchester United exit as he pushes for a move to Real Madrid this summer. He's been their Player of the Year for the last 2 seasons. They may as well name that Manchester United Player of the Year trophy after him now. I think he could get the 3 in a row. I don't quite understand why he's angling to leave. He seems to have been angling to leave ever since he got to United once again. If it's his dream and ambition to play for Real Madrid, let him go. Get a couple of good players in return. Move on. However, United insists that David De Gea has not asked to leave the club this summer. Players tend to ask far more publicly nowadays if they want to leave a football club, as well as doing it the professional way, in person to your boss. Manchester United boss Jose Mourinho is plotting a shock move for Manchester City goalkeeper Joe Hart, who is currently on loan at Torino when the transfer window reopens. If they lose De Gea, they're going to need a replacement goalkeeper, and Hart doesn't seem to be needed at Manchester City, and so is looking for a move somewhere else. United must be as good a place as any, although the fans will react badly to him. Meanwhile, England keeper Hart would be open to a move to Old Trafford as a replacement for De Gea. He's fine with it. Hertha Berlin's 19-year-old defender Jonathan Torunarigha says he dreams of playing for Manchester United. I've said it time and time again that if a player clearly supports your club and they are good enough to play for your club, you should sign that player because they are going to put more heart and soul into playing for your team than they will anywhere else. Despite, what their work ethic is. If you're playing for the team you support, you're always going to give that extra 10%. And that gives you a leg up on the field of play. Sure, it makes it easier for the big teams like United and Arsenal and Real Madrid and Barcelona to sign a bunch of players that support the club, and then they'll give extra on the field. And that gives them another slight advantage, which they don't need. But why wouldn't you take that advantage if it was there, low dangling fruit in front of you? Pep Guardiola holds the key to landing Virgil van Dijk this summer, with Southampton's 25-year-old Dutch centre-back reportedly eager to work with the Manchester City manager. I think he's destined for bigger things. It fits perfectly into the Southampton mould of we have a top player and then we sell him for a lot more money than we bought him for. I think it just shows which team he's going to go for this time. Traditionally, it's been Liverpool that sign all the big Southampton players. But if Manchester City are looking at him, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't want to go there instead of Liverpool. Sunderland manager David Moyes has hinted that he may consider his future at the Stadium of Light at the end of this season. Will he want to manage in the Championship? Will he get a job in the Premier League again? I think doing what Rafa Benitez done this year in going down with a team and then having the faith put in him to rebuild them back up again and bring them back to the Premier League, I think that goes a lot further than people give credit for. So either way, if he's got another Premier League team that wants him to be their manager, that's good for him. If he wants to go down and then come back up with Sunderland himself, that's very noble. I think both ways, things can only look up for him. Crystal Palace are being considered by potential takeover by D Sports, a Chinese marketing company that already owned La Liga side Granada, but Eagles chairman Steve Parish, who owns 18% of the club, does not want to sell. Then don't sell. If you own that part of the club and you don't desperately need the money, keep the part of the club that you don't want to sell. But 18%, you can still make a majority from elsewhere, so they could still take over the club even if he doesn't sell, I guess. That's how business works. Either way, if they're willing to put money into the club, I'm not entirely sure why you wouldn't not want to sell, try and turn Palace into one of the biggest teams in England. West Brom are considering a move for Middlesbrough defender Ben Gibson, but are reluctant to meet the Teesside club's £30 million asking price for the 24-year-old. I've said it before, I think it would be perfect if Everton sign up Michael Keane and Ben Gibson. That's a young English centre-back pairing that can go a long way into the future. Chelsea defender Thomas Calais is eager to stay on loan at club Fulham, even if the Cottagers do not make it into the Premier League next season. If you're happy somewhere and you're playing regularly, I can see why you'd want to stay there. The only stumbling block is if Chelsea want to continue sending him out on loan. I think at this point, reading this, if you're a Fulham boss, you should look to sign him permanently. If he wants to stay at your club, give him every opportunity to stay at your club. Watford captain Troy Deeney worries that young footballers that just care about nice cars and Instagram posts have no concept of the real world. Well, yeah, he's 100% correct in that. You do see some players sometimes and the stupid things they do, and you go, as soon as you stop playing football and you realise you don't have a lot of money left in this world, you are going to crash and burn. But it's been the same way for a long time. We constantly read about players that were big in their time, in their day, and have now, fallen from grace and have drinking problems, gambling problems, have huge amounts of debt, have gone bankrupt a couple of times. It's not a new concept, but I can see why he's worried about it. I guess the only upside of this is that for Troy Deeney, he clearly knows he has to look after himself and keep control of his finances and not be stupid. So I guess we don't have to worry about him going bankrupt in the future, unless something goes really wrong. Chapecoense star Rossi was sent off on Thursday for inappropriately touching a Club Nacional player behind the Copa Libertadores match between the two sides. I haven't seen it. I need to see it. It sounds funny, and I'm sure it is, from someone halfway around the world looking at it on a computer screen. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.